Welcome. This is 15-minute time frame trend following swing failure pattern trading strategy tested for 100 trades. So basically we're finding out how well swing failure patterns work when used in the context of a trend. So for that trend, we're going to be using a 200 period exponential moving average. Prices over the 200 EMA, then we're looking to long lows of a range with a swing failure pattern as our entry trigger. If prices under the 200 EMA, we're looking to short the highs of a particular range with a swing failure pattern as our entry trigger. Simple risk to reward ratio is going to just be 1 to 2. Set in stone, no trade management for this specific test, but that will make it easy for me to then go ahead and do another test with trade management added in. So stop loss to break even at a certain point, things along those lines. And then for the stop loss placement, it's just 1.5 times the ATR over the high of the entry candle. So very, very simple system. Something that I do want to show an example of is with regards to this swing failure off the highs or lows of the current pullback. Okay, so we don't want to take entries off a midpoint of a range. So for example, these swing failure patterns that we see here, here, and here, none of these are valid for entry triggers into this downtrend. The reason is they're not off the highs of the current pullback. So we're only taking swing failure pattern signals that are off the highs or lows of the current pullback depending on the trend direction. So we can see pullback begins right down here where the green arrow is. We go up. Here's the current high, so we need to get a swing failure off the current high of the pullback. What happens is we don't actually make it back up there. We get some swing failures. None of these are valid because they're intra-range. They're not at the highs. And we do get a follow-through, which, that's fine. We just didn't get a signal on there. And so let's go back here to some valid signals. Here are some valid signals. We get a pullback starting down here. This swing failure does wick the highs of the current pullback, so it's valid. And here's our ATR stop loss. I'm just using this indicator set to 1.5 times the ATR, which is above that candle's high, and 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. It ends up being a loss. That's fine. Here's our next one. This one is off the highs of the current pullback, so highest point of the current pullback, lows to highs. That's our highest point with that swing failure pattern, since we want to get in at the best possible price that we can into this trend. And this one does end up working out and goes down in our favor, 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. That's great. Now let's move on, look at some other examples. Here's one that's a loss. You can see it's valid though. Pullback begins down here. We go up. We're under the 200 EMA still. We get a swing failure pattern right here. I'm using a little indicator to mark them in. And it ends up being a loss. So we go in the favor of the trade, 1 to 1.4 risk to reward ratio, but then it comes back up, stops it out. We do get some more signals here. So go down here, price comes back under the 200 EMA. Let's clean this up a little. So we get a swing failure pattern here, but it's not off the highs of the current pullback. It doesn't quite get there, so it's not valid. And then same thing with this one, even though, potentially they would have worked out, it's just they weren't off the highs of the pullback. So neither of these ones were valid. This one, though, is valid. So you can see the pullback starts right here. Then our swing failure pattern that we get right here is off new highs of this pullback. So that's a valid entry trigger. We take that one. That one ends up being a winner. Here's another one that ends up being a winner. You can see that the pullback begins right here, lowest point of this current downtrend. Pullback begins, swing failure pattern off the high of this current pullback. That's a valid trigger. We go down, we go up, barely makes it, but it does make it, and we don't get stopped. Here's the ATR, 1.5 times the ATR there. Doesn't get stopped out, makes it, profits. Move over here. Here's a long. This one ends up being stopped out. So you can see no valid signals up until this point right here. We get some swing failure patterns down here off the lows of the current pullback while prices over the 200 EMA. That's valid. Let's move on to some more longs. Here's another long. Price pops up over the 200 EMA. We're looking for a swing failure pattern off the lows of our current pullback, which we get right here. There it is, valid, 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. Here's the ATR stop loss indicator, 1.5 ATR below the low of that candle for the entry, or from the entry candle's low. There it is, ends up working out. this one ends up getting stopped out. See, stopped out. Here's a winner. It's another winner. So you can see all of these, the swing failure patterns, they have to be off the lows of the current pullback. Looks like this one here, what do we have? Looks like that was an entry trigger. Oh, looks like this one would have won as well. Let's see. Let's check it. There it is. One to two. Okay, so that one's also a winner. So I guess this one I wouldn't even have taken because we're still in this one. But either way, that's the winner there. Here's a loss. Here's a loss. Here's a win. So you can see it's pretty simple. Just swing failure pattern signals off highs. And here's an example where we have a trade that's open. This one ends up being a winner. But while this one's open, we get another valid signal. So you can see this swing failure right here at the highs of this pullback was valid for an entry, but we're already in this one here, so I just didn't count it in the test. Okay. So that is the strategy. Is so simple. Let's do the fast forwarding through the 100 tests. I'll show you guys the results here in just a sec. All right, the results are in, so here they are. This was tested on Bitcoin USDT, 15-minute time frame using a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio. Took 5 months of price data for the 100 trades in the back test. Out of those 100, 50 winners and 50 losses, giving it a 50% win rate, which is very good for a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio. You'll see it on the strategy ranking spreadsheet in just a second. Got pretty high up there. Just think about it like this. So you have a coin flip, and that's a 50-50 shot of heads or tails. Let's say that every time you get heads, you make $100. Every time it hits tails, you lose $50. Are you not going to play that coin flip as many times as possible? Because you know that over a series of many coin flips, you're going to come out ahead with that 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio. So that's exactly what this is. Exactly 50-50, just like a coin flip. Really, really solid results out of this. As far as the winning streaks, losing streaks goes, we had 4 and 4. So no major winning streaks, no major losing streaks either. Gain on the account, assuming a risk of 1% per trade and not compounding 50%. So really good results out of this one. Let's put it over to the strategy ranking spreadsheet, see how it stacks up. So here it is, number 16 on the strategy ranking spreadsheet, with a couple others that were the exact same result, 50% win rate, 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio. This is out of now 103 tests that I've done on the channel, and it's falling on that upper range of all these strategies. So definitely a good strategy, one that performed very well. And that's with just a really, really basic test. As some of you might know, I did do a similar test over here, this number 2 one. Technically, it's number 1 because it only took 125 days and the number 1 spot holder was 11 years. But anyway, this was pretty similar. We had swing failure pattern, EMA, stochastic reset. It was slightly different with the trade management portion of it. So that's why I was saying earlier that the trade management could be done a bit differently on this, and the results could potentially be increased. And so even though it's this simple, it still performed well, showing us that swing failure patterns with the trend definitely put us in a good position to make money over a series of many trades when we have a decent risk to reward ratio. So that's it for this one. Hopefully it was educational, enjoyable, and I'll definitely be doing some follow-ups with the swing failure patterns, trend following, but with a little bit of tweaking, changing the take profit method, stop loss to break even method, and also stop loss method. So we'll see how things unfold. I'll probably do multiple tests on that, and I'll just throw out a few videos about a very similar strategy or just small tweaks between the tests. So yeah, that's it for this. Thanks guys for watching. Be sure to check out Bitunix exchange if you guys need a crypto exchange. These guys are great because they don't make you do KYC. They don't make you have a VPN. You can use this exchange from anywhere, any country in the world, and you're not going to have any issues accessing this crypto exchange, like so many others that have now done restrictions for some certain countries. So if you're in a country that doesn't allow a lot of crypto exchanges, leverage exchanges, check out Bitunix. They're my affiliate partner. I've been with them for a while, and they've been really great for me, and also for the people who signed up using my affiliate link. Some of them have reached out and said that they have been enjoying Bitunix. So thanks for watching anyway, and have a great day.